What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of PWI Presents FaceTurn with Candace, Cordelia. I see Killian doing the hand motion. This is how we're going to start things off. I love it already. So today's episode, I am talking with Killian McMurphy. And of course, we have to go into the many accolades that he's recently picked up within the year. First and foremost, our 2022 Cassandro Cup winner. Congratulations to you, Killian. He also won the Super 8, you're welcome, in 2021, and he was on our PWI 500 in 2021. So we'll see if he lands on the 2022 list that will be coming up shortly. How are you, sir? How's it going?
Good. I'm flattered hearing my resume spit back to me. It always feels good.
You've been really busy. You've been doing phenomenal work. And, we talked, it wasn't for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. We talked about, I think it was 2 years ago. And so many things have happened, obviously, since then. So first of all, I want to bring up your Cassandro Cup win. You are the second person to win the Cassandro Cup. Edith Surreal is or was the inaugural winner. So how does it feel to have won the Cassandro Cup and just basking in your glory right now?
To me, I'm really the first ever Cassandro Cup winner because Edie only had to beat 3 people to win. And she didn't even beat me. She beat me by count out, which isn't even a real win. And that was in the semifinals. So really, she beat 2 people. I beat 29 other people, including my best friend, Big Dust, which was very heartbreaking. AC Mack, who's a world champion. Erica Lee, who's beat me many, many times, ECWA, Legacy Champion, Brooke Valentine, Dark Sheik, legends of queer wrestling, and they all suck because I'm the best.
And, you make a really good point, too, about the fact that you were facing all of these entrants because you were the first entrant. So you had to stay in the ring for quite some time in order to decimate everyone else in the ring and become that Cassandro Cup winner. So thank you for setting me straight. I mean, I apologize for that.
Thank you. Thank you for apologizing. It's a common mistake. I feel like with my history of tournament wins and a lot of my success has come with the help of Big Dust, with the help of the Goons. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of the first time I've put it on my back entirely and done it myself. So I think a lot of people aren't used to that. I think a lot of people assume I cheated, assume I did it in a dastardly way. And other than a couple chops to the throat, everything I did was completely clean. I didn't have anybody on my side. 1 against 29. It's honestly unprecedented. I don't think you'll ever see it again in the history of the Cassandro Cup.
It is unprecedented, absolutely. And you won this within a Rumble, which I also believe is the first time it's ever been done within a Rumble match. So you're really knocking out all of these firsts and really and truly making history in pro wrestling, which is fantastic to see, And thank you for bringing up Big Dust. I hope he can join us, within this call. I think that would be fantastic to get his ideas and to figure out what he's been up to as well, because your relationship with Big Dust is really heartwarming. I know you both have caused some controversy in the past, but it's really nice to see what you both have done and the collaborations that you've also achieved within wrestling. And it's also great because from the managerial perspective, a lot of people have been stating that they want to see more managers. They want to see more managers in pro wrestling, and he's killing it right now. What are your thoughts on your relationship that you currently have and where you see it progressing in the future?
Big Dust, to me, is so much more than a manager. I mean, when he comes to the ring, he's billed as my best friend. And that, of course, extends beyond the ring. I mean, you look at something like KillianVision, Dust was the main editor and the final say in KillianVision when it came to putting all the segments together and shipping that off to IWTV. That was all Dustin. Written and directed February with Sunny Kiss, which I think is one of my best work. Absolutely essential to the big goddamn Cinemagic against Erica Lee, which I think was, some of the peak comedy cinematic wrestling that we got to do. So I think Dust isn't just funny looking guy talks for wrestler. I don't even think he's that at all. I think he's such an expansion of myself and the rest of the goons, and really a glue that holds a lot of the art that we create together. He's really an essential part of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, I do remember we talked a little bit about KillianVision. It was the idea was forming and everything hadn't really quite fleshed out. So to see the journey from 2 years ago from KillianVision then to what it is now is spectacular. And I can tell that you both have worked so hard with it. What was your aim when you both were first thinking about KillianVision? What were you aiming to do with it within the wrestling industry?
Well, it really, the idea of KillianVision really it expands. I'm using that word a lot. Expands beyond just KillianVision. It was our philosophy on professional wrestling going into the pandemic. Not really going in, but once the pandemic kicked off and we realized that something needed to change, our philosophy was really, we know what a professional wrestling match can be. What else can it be? And between the time travel in KillianVision and especially the main event against Erica Lee, which was nothing resembling a professional wrestling match, I think that was our movie. I mean, when people pitch sitcoms, right, they're always talking about like 3 seasons in a movie, 2 seasons in a movie. I look at it as if the cinematics were our seasons and KillianVision was our movie. And with the help of the Leapfrog staff and everybody on there, because I can go on and on about the technical lengths that were gone to achieve what we wanted to achieve in KillianVision, I really think it, in a lot of ways, put a good bow at the time on what we were doing. Now there's been a bow on top of that and a bow on top of that and a bow on top of that, but eventually we'll run out of room. It'll hit the ceiling, I guess.
You can surpass the ceiling eventually. That's
True.
I believe so. So what, going into the rest of this year and even beyond, where do you see KillianVision advancing towards?
Well, we wanted, there's been talks, and I'm not going to go into too many details, about doing a KillianVision sequel, KillianVision 2. That was far in the future, and I think it's been pushed even farther into the future. So as far as KillianVision, the brand KillianVision specifically, nothing really in the pipeline, but the company High Tension Wrestling, which kind of, it technically all the Leapfrog shows were High Tension shows. Leapfrog just ran through High Tension, but now the Leapfrog's not really a thing anymore. They're just doing High Tension shows. So a lot of the spirit of KillianVision, a lot of the staff that was involved with KillianVision has gone on and is working for that company now. So you can see their stuff on IWTV. They recently did a Johnny Moran movie, which was very, very interesting. Rob Radke, Miles, Big Dust are all on it. Rob sings, and he's a really good singer, probably the most talented of the fellas. Actual talent.
Okay.
He's got pipes. I didn't think he could sing like that, honestly, but he put it on a million, and he absolutely killed.
Oh, that's fascinating. You know what? I could have sworn I saw you state something about musicals, which I didn't even know that you like musicals, and I love musicals as well.
I do.
Yes. Could we potentially ever see a Goons themed musical, something of that nature? I think it would be awesome.
So there have been a few things written. We had about a half a script for a cinematic for the Bulletproof Championship back when doing season 1. There's something in the works right now. There's a lot of moving parts, so I don't know if we'll see it this year or we'll see it next year. But yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to be doing something musical at some point.
All right.
And I can't sing at all, so it's going to be very interesting.
I'll take that off of the list because my next question really to segue is there anything Killian can't do? So singing.
Singing. I'm a decent dancer, I think. But I think if we do like a pattery, like a fast paced pop 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 song, I think I can get through it.
All
but
right.
I guess only time will tell, right?
Exactly. Only time will tell. We're here for it. We're here for whatever you and the goons are doing because you have a huge fan base. I want to get into high tension wrestling. Thank you for also bringing that up because I read that you were, and I'm sorry, I didn't get to watch this match. I will eventually watch it between you and JTG, and you defeated JTG. Congratulations on that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Current NWA superstar and former WWE superstar. How is that experience like being in the ring with JTG?
Amazing. I mean, I said it in the promo. JTG's been at the mountaintop for a long time now. And someone like me has a lot of climbing before they get to that point. But how that climb starts is beating people with like JTG. And I was lucky enough to not just in the past year face JTG, but also Black G's, who's in the NWA, an absolute Philadelphia indie wrestling legend. So you hang with people like that. It just started pouring. Oh my God. I swear to God, we have Florida weather right
I know.
now.
It's pouring here too. So.
That's insane.
I feel you.
But my point being, like, if you hang with the best, you're going to be the best. So that's all I can do is keep having absolute bangers with the likes of Black Cheese and JTG. And, hopefully you'll see me there before too long.
Sure.
But if not, who cares? Because they're just going to try to tell me what to do. And I'm too much of a goddamn maniac to listen to them. So I'll be fired in 2 weeks. And then I'll be back here talking to you.
Well, wherever you land, I always love talking with you, Killian, whether you're with the big promotions or you're still doing your thing on the indies. Exactly. Who cares? It's right. The journey, right? It's the absolute journey. Is there anyone else that you would love to have a banger match with?
It's tough because I just had my dream match. I wanted to wrestle Trish Adora for years, and I got to face Trish in DC at the DC Brow Festival. It was, a dream come true. I'd like to face Trish again, of course. AC Mack is on a very short list. Effie one-on-one, I think, would be fantastic. Who have we been saying that we wanted to face lately? God, I wish Justin was here. He has a really good answer for a dream match that I can't think of off the top of my head, but he's going to be mad at me for not remembering. Because it was Angela Bassett in a cinematic.
Yeah.
And
we
now
talked about it. Yes.
It's somebody in a shoot fight, but I can't I can't think of who we want to beat the shit out of right now.
In a shoot fight, it'll come to eventually.
It's a long list. It's tough to keep track of all the people we want to put in a hospital.
Oh wow, in the hospital. But I remember the Angela Bassett shout out. So we have to.
Yes.
That has to happen. I don't know why you would want to fight Angela Bassett. She seems very lovely, and she also seems like she would be a fierce competitor. So you might have your work cut out for you, Killian. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. In a cinematic, who knows what she's capable of? I feel like every other person she plays has some kind of magical powers. So I only assume that's what it's like in real life too.
Exactly. She might bust out some American Horror Story tricks.
She is so scary in that. Oh, that's my favorite season. That's hands down my favorite season. Did you watch the most recent season?
I watched the first half of it. I started the second half and I did not. I stopped because I just could not get into it. And anyone watching, sorry if you've never watched the latest season of American Horror Story, but yeah,
it's
the first
bad.
Season, I'm all about vampires. I've always loved vampire lore, and I love the first half that they went into it and they took twists and turns. I love Macaulay Culkin's role in it. It's so good. Everyone is fantastic. And then the second half, I'm like, oh, it has promise. And then I'm like, what are we doing here? The aliens are one thing, but then it just devolved into mess.
it became a parody of itself in that second half. And I don't even think the first half finished entirely strong. I think
agree.
The first 4 episodes, like when Alma was really like getting very evil and Alma was turning into a vampire.
Yes.
Spoiler. I think that was awesome. And honestly, some of the best that American Horror Story has ever been, especially has been in the past 6 years, right? Since like Hotel.
Yeah.
But
yes.
It really didn't finish strong. But I think when you start so intensely, where do you go once you turn the kid into a vampire?
Exactly.
What else crazy can you do?
And even though the finish was a bit weak, I still highly enjoyed it. It's just the switch to, I don't know where they were going with it, and I don't know if I'll ever finish the second half because I was just so turned off. I'm sorry, Ryan Murphy. I'm sorry.
If you're watching Ryan Murphy, I'm not sorry. You should be sorry, Ryan Murphy.
You know, and that's a whole, this whole argument of Ryan Murphy projects never finishing strongly it's a huge topic. People continue to talk about it because of all the projects he's done, it seems to be a pattern. And I don't know how to, I mean, it's his show. He has the money. He's the producer, so he can do what he wants. But I'm just saying, what are we doing here?
I was never, besides the numbers, obviously it's a jukebox musical, like it's fun, but I never liked Glee at all.
Really?
I tried a few episodes of Glee and I was like, this acting and this dialogue is rough. The numbers are great and the numbers are fun, and I'll go on YouTube and watch like a super cut of Glee numbers, but I can't make it through an episode. What's her face is the only highlight, the principal.
Oh, the principal, Sue. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, she's great in everything.
Right? She is great in everything. But I loved it in the first, I want to say 4 seasons. And then when they started to change the characters and people started to phase out and new people phase in, I think that's where I wavered off, because it was fantastic for me the first 4 seasons, or 3 going into 4. And then I was thinking, what's happening here? It's the same thing like with American Horror Story. It just, there was a switch, and it's like, it's not as exciting as it was in the first half. But that, you know what, it's okay. Ryan Murphy, I think, is still a genius. I'm not gonna bury him.
You know who does not like Ryan Murphy at all?
Who? I want to say Big Dust. It's
Big Dust despises Ryan. He thinks he's the hackiest of all hacks.
See, and if he were here, he'd go into it, and then we'd have a whole other conversation.
He would go, he doesn't have any talent. He's talentless.
Well, that's okay. We still sit, we still watch. I still maintain Asylum is the best American Horror Story season, but that is me. I thoroughly enjoyed that from top to bottom, but
that's everyone has Jessica Lange is just a master class, right? Like, incredible in that season.
In everything she does. She's like Meryl Streep. She can never not have a good role or a good performance. Yeah. It's impossible. So, but yeah, she exceeded in that season. It was awe-inspiring. Yeah.
Incredible. And a good singer. Great numbers in that too.
I'm just like, what can't you do? It's just like I asked you, what can't you do? But singing, you'll get a pass for not singing. I think you'll get a pass. I want to get into, this is why I love talking to Killian, because we just get into so many tangents and it's so fun. I want to revert though back to the Cassandro Cup because, and I didn't see this at first. I was told about this. I saw the one picture with the undergarments, Killian, but then I was told about the picture with the Chick-fil-A fries that you put in the Cassandro.
Oh yeah, my first State of the Union address.
Yes. I was told about this. I would love for you to elaborate, please, because I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. And there's so many layers to this, just on the visual front, that I think is actually brilliant. But I'll let you take it away as to why you decided to put the Chick-fil-A food in the Cassandro Cup and then have your State of the Union address.
Well, I am the first ever homophobic Cassandro Cup champion. They've never had one of those before. When we we came up with the idea, it wasn't just me, and I'm not gonna shatter kayfabe. You know, I'll bend it and play with it, but I won't tell exactly who helped me write the promo.
Sure.
When we came up with it, there was a lot of why we should, why we shouldn't, pros and cons. What are we really trying to say? And there's certainly a lot of deeper meaning to that promo.
Mm-hmm.
The background included, the song included, my entrance music at Vibe on day one, specifically for the Cassandro Cup, the flag that I came out with, it really forms a full package and a statement. And I'm not going to pick it apart and say it means this, it means this, it means this, because I'm a firm believer in death of the author. And if you want to interpret it as me just being a dickhead, then like knock yourself out. But that all combined with the USA chant and everything that I did on Friday kind of forms, and along with the picture you talked about, it kind of plays into that too, even though that was, I think, a little more funnier. I was trying to say less with that, more shock value than anything. But there is meaning behind the madness. But I'll let the millions and millions of angry queer people figure that out. I won't spell it out for us.
All right. All right. Did you get a lot of hate DMs after you?
No, everybody was laughing. Everybody thought it was funny.
So is it mission accomplished or mission to be continued? It seems like
definitely mission to be continued. It even, like, of course I don't want, visceral, I'm gonna cancel you hate, but I think a lot of the initial reaction was laugh and then it's over. I don't think there was a thinking stage that I'm sure a lot of people saw it and they're getting the full picture and they're realizing it, especially people I've had conversations with that I really respect. I kind of say, is this reading? And they assure me that if someone's smart enough, they'll get it. But I was kind of disappointed that there hasn't been, and I guess it's tough to do as a heel, but no one's seeing the statement, right? No one's thinking besides, oh, funny man, eat homophobic chicken.
Yes.
But it kind of runs deeper than that.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that it's pretty much become a lost art in terms of the promos, in terms of really thinking about how to flesh out a gimmick or to flesh out your character? And also in being a heel in wrestling, would you say that this has become a lost art and we're now at a stage where more people are doing much better with it, or it's just kind of, little fits here, little things here that are just bursting and then it's hit or miss? What are your thoughts on that? Because this is also, it's still a huge hot topic. It has been for several years now.
Well, I won't get too much into the heel aspect of it because I think that there's other wrestlers, other heels that I think could have a lot more to say and are probably a lot more passionate about it than I am. I'm very fourth wall breaky, even out there. Like the fourth wall doesn't exist to me. Like I'll say anything to anybody. I'll tell a little kid like, hey, you're supposed to boo me because I'm a bad guy. Like I don't give a shit. But if you talk to Darius Carter, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about the lost art of being a heel. As far as the lost art of the promo, I think, at least in my immediate scene, right, I'm seeing a lot of what we've implemented ripple out. And I think whether people admit it or not, things like KillianVision, things like all the cinematics, things like February have an effect on how people think about wrestling content. And I can name 5 people off the top of my head that have bit our shit because they see how dynamic it is. Not
Yeah.
saying, I mean, all the cinematics was biting this guy's shit, biting this guy's shit, biting this and biting that, and combining it. So I'm not shitting on these people by any means, but I know the goon influence when I see it.
Well, you know the saying, imitation is the best form of flattery. So
I think money is the best form of flattery. But...
that's new. I have not. It makes a lot of sense, though. It makes a lot of sense. But and that's very profound, but I can see why you would say so. You know, you talk about Darius as being one of the goons are just expanding as we're noticing, but it seems as though you have to have a particular way about you in order to be a part of the goons, which makes sense. It's an exclusive club. You can't just invite anyone. For me, it's perfect that Darius Carter has been a part of the goons. What do you look for? Like when I'm sure you and Dustin have conversations, what do you look for when someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to be a part of your crew? What do I have to do in order to be, invited in? Or is it more of a different process to be invited?
Well, Darius would probably be mad at you because he's in the Better Business Bureau or the Best Business.
So he's
Bureau.
No longer in the goons because
he was never in the goons. So back in Leapfrog, and this storyline was never really resolved. He was in control of the goons. I had disappeared after KillianVision, and the goons were kind of a lost boys. They didn't know what to do, and Darius kind of came in and took them under his wing, and then that was going to finish. I was going to culminate in me versus Darius when I finally come back after KillianVision. Me versus Darius for control of the goons. But unfortunately, Leapfrog kind of puttered out, and that storyline was never really resolved. I'm sure Darius and I will be able to dance a million times, but I'm not worried about that. It's just his association directly with the goons is kind of dissolved, more or less.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you definitely clarified it because it is confusing. And on the internet, it's stating the complete opposite. It's stating that Darius is still a part of the goons. So sorry to cut you off. I'm glad you're clarifying this because people need to know.
That's funny. That's funny. It also, I think, causes confusion in the sense that a lot of people in the Best Business Bureau are also in the goons. Eel, myself, and Dust are all in the Best Business Bureau, and that's literally like half of the group.
Yeah,
half of the group for the goons and half of the group for the Best Business Bureau. So honestly, I think something's got to give, right, between the two groups. I think there's a lot of other queer talent in the goons that I think you're going to start seeing at Pro Wrestling Vibe, and I think I don't know how. It might be oil and water with the Best Business Bureau. It's hard to say what's going to happen.
I think we're on the cusp of something. We're always breaking things here at Pro Wrestling Illustrated on FaceTurn, but I think you've given us a lot to think about and chew on.
I'm glad that before we go, I got to say I'm glad you are at this magazine because you're going to give them some much needed sense. You can get dum-dums like Kevin. Kevin's very mixed up. It's not his fault. He just doesn't have it all figured out like you do. So I just need you to make sure you're setting him straight and make sure I'm in the top 20 this year.
You've got it. Wow, you've given me such a big task, Killian. I appreciate you. I always have. And Kevin will watch this and
well, you don't. He doesn't have to watch it. You don't have to per se.
He still will. He's the editor-in-chief, so he's gonna. And we'll discuss Killian. We'll see what's up. I mean, you were. Let me check that. Yes, you were number 235 on the 500 last year. I had to check my records. So stay tuned. I can't spill the beans on your standing for this year, but stay tuned. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I wish I could tell everyone, but what's the fun in that? You got to be surprised.
You got to buy the magazine.
Exactly. It's like Christmas morning. You got to wait and see. So, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whichever you celebrate, it's that morning where you wake up and it's like, there's your gift. So yeah, wait to see if you'll get that present, Killian. But thank you. Your kind words mean a lot, and they really exceedingly mean a lot, because I know you're not nice to everyone. So I appreciate that.
Especially there at that magazine, that commie rag that you're working for. It's hard to be nice to those people. the dishonest press.
Yeah, that's another episode. Journalism. That's a whole.
We don't have the time to get into the pinko rag that is the PWI.
But we could. I mean, we honestly should have a show, Killian. I've been thinking about that. We should have a podcast or a show. I think that would be hilarious. Just talking about TV, film, wrestling.
Yes,
Gossip
I would
Girl,
love that.
Even though
I would love that.
You're a fan, but I don't know if you're a real fan.
I'm not. I've been doing a million other things. It's been out for a year, and I still haven't watched the reboot yet.
Well,
I'm the worst.
I think you should give it a chance. I was really opposed to it at first, and then I started watching, and I quite like it. So give the reboot when you have the time, when you're not winning more trophies and more titles, and chilling with the goons and playing PlayStation and hanging out with your family and friends. Give it a chance when you have time. No pressure.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's always a pleasure, Killian. Thank you so much. Do you have any last words for our watchers and listeners here at FaceTurn with Candace Cordelia?
Make sure you catch the replay of Great American Trash from New Fear City. That's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. We'll be celebrating this great nation of ours I'll probably stick a firecracker in somebody's butt or something crazy like that. Who knows what I'll do? It's a no ring deathmatch. Killian is back at it. Make sure you catch the replay of the latest ECWA show to catch me taking on Erica Lee for the Legacy Championship. And make sure you catch the replay of Pro Wrestling Vibe, Cassandro Cup, and Paris is Bumping, both available on Jerry Vision, IW Television. Check it out.
Yes. And follow Killian on social media, because honestly, you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of great hot takes and more. And listen to the man. You heard what he said. Check out all of his upcoming matches and past matches if you have not watched some of the recent ones, including his win for the Cassandro Cup. Thank you so much, Killian, for being a part of my show. Always a pleasure. And thank you all for watching. You're welcome. And thank you all for watching this latest episode of PWI Presents FaceTurn with Candace Cordelia, where we interview your favorite stars in the wrestling industry and more. And stay tuned, because you never know who I will be interviewing next. Until next time, see you later.